5 wraps up a 3-game series with the Toronto Blue Jays and the Indians hoping to avoid the broom here this afternoon. Hi, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. The Indians come in here today having lost 7 of their last 9 games. And, Rick, in those losses, in those 9 games, the Indians have been out-homered 15-3, and the opposition has outscored them just on those homers alone 22-3. So that's become a big problem, especially against a Toronto team that loves the long ball.
Loves the long ball. They're leading the league in long ball. As a matter of fact, extra base hits. This is a ball club. They swing the bats with authority. And I'm talking about 1 through 9. When you look at their 7 and 8 hitters, they have 42 RBIs, which is more than the 3-4 hitters of the Cleveland Indians. So they're not getting cheated. They swing the bats very well. They're first in homers. They're first in doubles. And I'll tell you what, they're a very aggressive offense right now. When they get a pitch that they like, they are not getting cheated.
And that's a pretty good attack for Toronto because not only do they hit homers, they don't give many up. They've only allowed 1 home run in their last 89 innings of work as a pitching staff, and Brandon Morrow gets the call today against Fausto Carmona.
Well, Brandon Morrow also, this is his first start against the Indians this year. He's 1-1 in his career with a save coming from Seattle. He's got a very good arm and a very good fastball. Fausto Carmona coming off a tough start against the Minnesota Twins, gave up a 2-run homer early in the first inning, and then 3 unearned runs in there. Well, they were earned runs, but 3 runs he shouldn't have gave up in the second inning. But he's very good against the Blue Jays, and they need Fausto to step up and pitch a great one today.
Yeah, and that's obviously part of it. When you're struggling, everything seems to go south at the same time. They're not hitting. You get some suspect pitching, and the defense has got to get tightened up too.
Yeah, they really do. And what they did, 9 walks last night. They cannot continue to give base runners, and Toronto's had a lot of base runners in the series.
We'll be back with all the play-by-play action here at Progressive Field coming up next. Lots of sunshine, not a cloud in sight as we get ready for baseball here this afternoon. The Indians and the Blue Jays putting the wraps on a 3-game series. Toronto trying to run their win streak to 4 in a row, and the Indians trying to avoid a losing streak that would send them to 4 straight defeats. Toronto, meanwhile, with this 4-game win streak, or with a potential 4-game win streak, is within 5 games of front-running Tampa in the AL East. The Indians, meanwhile, with the 3-game losing streak, have dropped to the cellar in the AL Central. But they're only a half game out of 3rd place as Kansas City and Chicago, both with identical 11-16 records a half game in front of the Indians. What's really interesting when you look at the numbers for the Toronto Blue Jays, they're 15-13 overall. They're 7-10 at home and 8-3 on the road. They're the only team in Major League Baseball that has a losing home record and a winning road record. It's almost in reverse. But then, Rick, when you look closer at that AL East, nobody has really played that well at home except the New York Yankees, who are 9-2 on the season at home.
And they've had probably the fewest home games yet. But, they'll get their home going eventually. You know, when you can go out and play well on the road, that says something early. And they've been able to do it by swinging the bats and getting some solid pitching.
Nobody's played better on the road this year than the Tampa Bay Rays. They're 10-1 away from Tropicana Field. Tribe takes the field behind Fausto Carmona here this afternoon. And let's get a look at the starting lineup for Cito Gaston's Blue Jays that he'll face here today. Fred Lewis, the left fielder, leads it off. Then it's Aaron Hill, followed by Adam Lynn. Vernon Wells batting cleanup, followed by Lyle Overbay. Alex Gonzalez hitting 6th and Jose Bautista 7th. And then a little change at the bottom of the order as Travis Snyder moves out of the 9th spot, bumped up to 8th, with Jose Molina doing the catching, and he'll bat 9th here today.
Today's starting pitcher brought to you by the Indians Team Shops, where you'll get 2 tickets when you spend $50. It's Fausto Carmona this afternoon making his 6th start, looking for win number 4. He had a little hiccup in his last start against the Twins. He gave up a 2-run homer in the first inning, and then they got 3 runs in the second. They added on, and he was down early. And the 3 in the second was because of an unturned double play ball. But he is 2-0 in his career against the Jays, and he likes to pitch in the daytime. He is also 2-0 during the day out of his 3 games. So we'll see what he can do today. Take a look at the Home Depot doing more on defense. Indians defensive lineup. Laporta, Sizemore, and Chu in the outfield. Peralta, Valbuena, Grizzlonic, and Branyan on the infield. Mike Redmond doing the catching this afternoon because Carmona is on the mound. That's more savings, more doing. That's the power of Home Depot.
Umpiring crew, Ron Culpa calling the balls and strikes. Lance Barksdale at first, Ed Rapuano at second, and the crew chief, Tom Hallion, down at third. Fans filing in for this 12 p.m. start as Fausto Carmona will try to do something no other Indian starter has done on this homestand, and that's keep the opposition off the scoreboard through the first 2 innings.
Well, what do they go back 7 straight games where the opposition has scored in the first or second inning?
You got to go back to the last game that we had on the road trip when Jake Westbrook pitched in Anaheim. That's the last time a team did not score in at least the first 2 innings of a game. Weak tapper back to the mound. Carmona knocks it down, throws him out, 1 away.
Well, a little comebacker. He's able to knock down, keep it close by so he can get on it and make the play. So, good start. Ground ball out.
Toronto's second baseman Aaron Hill has gone 4 for 11 in this series. He had a double in the series opener.
Well, extra base hits are their specialty. They lead the league in doubles with 77. They lead the league in home runs with 42. You know, they don't hit for much average, but they have a tendency to score runs. When they get guys on, they take advantage of it.
1-1 pitch missed in off the plate. 2 balls and a strike. Carmona with a 2-1. And he missed inside with it. The Toronto Blue Jays have been a bit streaky through their first 28 games. They won 5 out of their first 6, lost 5 of their next 7, won 3 out of 4, lost 5 straight, and now they've won 5 out of 6. Caught the inside corner, and the count goes full.
You got to remember sometimes, they're playing over there in that Eastern Division, and they run into teams. They had to play Tampa. They got to play Boston, 6 straight times. So that could be one reason why you could have a tendency to be a little streaky.
Carmona walks Aaron Hill. And a 1-out base runner here in the first for Adam Lynn. Today's injury report brought to you by the attorneys at Friedman, Damiano, and Smith. When you're injured, depend on them. Find Friedman, Damiano, and Smith online at fdslaw.com. The Indians are hopeful that Asdrubal Cabrera, after tomorrow's off day, will return to the lineup Friday night against the Detroit Tigers. Here is Adam Lynn with 1 on and 1 out. With that walk to Aaron Hill, Carmona has now walked 15 and struck out 15 in 33 2/3 innings.
Well, that's also the 15th walk by Tribe pitchers in this series. Now, when you've got guys that can hit home runs or guys that are extra base machines and you're giving them base runners, that's not a good sign.
And quickly out to the mound goes catcher Mike Redmond as he falls behind Adam Lynn 2-0 after walking Aaron Hill. A lot has been made of this Blue Jays lineup because of their home run hitting prowess, their extra base hitting ability, but the low batting average. And Cito Gaston was saying, no team in baseball can simply live on the home run ball. Where the Blue Jays have had success is that they've been able to get a hit and then hit a home run,
right,
or a couple of hits and then hit a home run. So they've made those home runs crooked numbers instead of just hitting a bunch of solo shots.
And like he says, you don't want to live by the long ball because you will die by it. When you run into some solid pitching where they don't give you any extra base runners, you got to create runs. That's a hard thing to do when you live by the long ball. But Carmona, he's got to stay aggressive. Adam Lynn, 0 for his last 18.
Two 2-1 pitch from Carmona. Down low, 3 balls and a strike. Vernon Wells waits on deck. And you don't want to put guys on in front of him the way he's swung the bat so far this year. Broke his bat, bounced to first. Branyan gets one there, and the relay is in time for an inning-ending double play. And just like that, Carmona is out of a jam. Jays do not score. Indians coming to bat. First Maniac to starting lineup presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive, proud to be the official auto insurance provider of the Cleveland Indians. Mark Grudzielanek will lead it off for the second straight night. Grady Sizemore, then Shin-Soo Choo, followed by Johnny Peralta, Travis Hafner, and Russell Branyan. Matt Laporta, Luis Valbuena, and Mike Redmond will round it out.
25-year-old Brandon Morrow on the mound and coming over to the Jays from the Seattle Mariners. He was acquired December 23rd in exchange for right-handed pitcher Brandon Lee going out west. And this guy started 10 games last year. He was a very good bullpen guy. He's got an excellent arm, 33 strikeouts in his 28 innings, but 16 walks. But this guy is 2-2 on the year with a 5.46 ERA.
Mark Grudzielanek, 2 out of 6 in the series. And it's up high for ball one. One of the problems the Indians have had in this series, as Grzelcyk cuts and misses, is getting hits with less than 2 out. Yesterday in the third inning, there were 2 outs, nobody on base, and 6 straight reached after that, so they made the most of that opportunity. But they've had other chances, in particular last night, 2 leadoff doubles that they could not take advantage of. And so it's hitting with less than 2 out that's been a real thorn in their side in this series, where they've gone 5 for 40. And on the homestand, batting just .214. Up high, 3 balls and a strike. Their success hitting with 2 out has been admirable, but you'd like to have some guys on base when they hit with 2 out to take advantage of that. Grzelcyk fouls it into the club seats, and it's a full count. Brandon Morrow's payoff pitch, and Grzelcyk lining it down the right field line. Foul. So we'll go back and try again. Again, Morrow into the windup, and the 3-2 is fouled away by Grzelcyk.
Do a nice job battling. That was a 97-mile-an-hour fastball he fouled off. And you figure when a guy's throwing that hard, that's what you're going to get. He doesn't want to walk you to lead off the game.
Again, the 3-2 and a high pitch.
Like a breaking ball.
Puts Grzelcyk aboard to start the first inning for the Indians.
Let's check out the Blue Jays defense behind Morrow this afternoon. It's Lewis, Wells, and Snyder in the outfield, left to right. Bautista, Gonzalez, Hill, and Overbay third to first. Behind the plate is Mr. Molina, one of the Molina brothers.
Grady Sizemore steps in, and moving in on the grass at third is Jose Bautista. And Grady pops it in the air. Shallow left. Out goes the shortstop Gonzalez. One away. Gonna bring up Shin-Soo Choo. Choo 2 for 8 in the series. Morrow's pitch is outside for ball one. It's a brave new world for Toronto in that they have no Roy Halladay to lead their pitching staff this year. In the past, even when they had young starters, Halladay would set the tone and everybody would follow or try to live up to what Halladay was doing, and he was the measuring stick for the rest of that staff. Now, they have 5 guys who are relatively all the same age, same experience level, and pitching coach Bruce Walton feels that the success they've had here in the early going has become contagious. They've become a very close-knit unit, that starting 5.
You know what? That's really a good way to put it, because they can certainly feed off each other. You know, they want to go out there and you get one guy that has a good performance, and you know that's how starting rotations start getting together and getting a feel for one another and feeding off one another. Back here when Cliff Lee and CC and those guys were here, they would say the same thing. When he goes out there and does a good job, I want to follow.
Strike called, and it's a 3-1 count. It's always nice to have one veteran in the mix a guy who's been there and can help through the bumps in the road, because it's always easy when everything's going well. It's when you encounter those difficulties and the adversity.
That's who's going to step up.
That's when it's nice to have that leadership. 3-1. Ball 4, and the Indians have 2 aboard as Morrow has walked a pair here in the first.
He has 18 walks.
Let's take a look at yesterday's great clip of the game, brought to you by Great Clips. Johnny Peralta continuing to swing a pretty hot bat for the Indians. Peralta with 7 hits on the homestand. Relax, you're at Great Clips.
It's just amazing how when the calendar turns to May that Peralta ends up starting to hit. It really is. And we've seen it more than once.
People may have the misperception that Peralta is somehow oblivious to this fact, but he understands it. He knows people talk about it. He's been talked to about it. He has no answers
you
for it.
don't
He
play
can't
in the
figure
big
it out.
leagues, and every year the same thing happens. You get off to a slow start, and you've got to battle and talk to the media and the people the same way. He would love to get out and change and hit 750. In the first month if you could do it. But the bottom line is, you have to have your track record over 6 months, but certainly, unfortunately, the whole offense has a slow April.
Chance to do some damage here in the first, though. Peralta down on the count 0-2. And he struck him out. So Brandon Morrow, after walking 2, gets a big strikeout. 2 down, and now Travis Hafner to the plate.
See, that's the one thing Morrow could do. If he walks a couple of guys, he's got enough on it, and that's a perfect pitch above the belt. High fastball that not many are going to catch up to. You'll see a lot of swings and misses. If you're fortunate, you may be able to foul that pitch off.
So Hafner, with 2 aboard and 2 out, steps in. And he cuts and misses at that first offering from Brandon Morrow. In addition to the youth and relative inexperience of this Toronto Blue Jays starting rotation, only one of these starters has a career complete game. And the most innings recorded by any of them is 178 by Ricky Romero last year.
Yeah, and they're young pitchers where they can only go up. You usually try and get them 15 more innings per year. That's why, usually the going rate, I think.
That's why that injury list, they need some of those guys to get back, get healthy at some point, so they can maybe.
Well, they will. I mean, when they come back, who knows? They're going to have what do they have? 7 pitchers on the disabled list.
The 1-1 pitch to Hafner, ran it in off the plate. Ten balls, 10 strikes here in the first for Brandon Morrow, so he's searching a little bit for it. See if the Indians can get through here in inning number 1. The 2-1 to Hafner. And that will even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Morrow ready now in the 2-2 to Hafner. Got him. So he walks 2, strikes out 2, and we are scoreless after an inning. Baseball is brought to you by Subway. Play hard, eat fresh. By Continental Airlines. Work hard, fly right. And by your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. Second inning here at Progressive Field. Vernon Wells leading off for Toronto and takes the first pitch strike from Fausto Carmona. Wells just 1 for 6 so far in the series. And he fights that pitch off. 0-2 the count.
Well, a guy that's, their main man in the middle part of that lineup that has to step up for him and have a good year this year.
Up the middle it goes and into center field. Vernon Wells with a leadoff single here in the second.
Another, and I know I talked about it a lot last night, but an 0-2 base hit. Boy, and that's only the second time because Carmona, when he has had hitters down in the count 0-2, they were just 1 for 25 off him. They are now 2 for 26.
Lyle Overbay steps in. Left-handed hitter 1 for 7 in the series. Now you talk about Vernon Wells being the man in the middle of this lineup that the Toronto Blue Jays are counting on. Certainly, when you look at the cleanup spot in just about any team, that's a very important piece of a lineup. Interesting story out of Seattle where they haven't been able to settle on a leadoff, or I should say a cleanup hitter this year.
No, they have not.
Don Wakamatsu had Milton Bradley batting cleanup last night. He struck out in a couple of at-bats, and after the second time when he struck out, he looked at a pitch right down the middle for strike 3, and after that at-bat, Wakamatsu benched Milton Bradley, took him out of the game. And after the game, Wakamatsu, all he said was, quote, "We just felt that with what went on in the 2 strikeouts, it was time to get him out of the game." And he would not elaborate further. Bradley left immediately following the game, was not available for contact.
It's hard to believe. I don't think that's ever happened to Milton before. Pulled out of the game.
Kind of surprising.
My goodness. One of the most likable players around.
It's amazing that teams continue to think that he'll change. Oh, maybe we'll get him. We'll get him in our environment. We'll bring Ken Griffey in. We'll have that leadership available to him. Same problems seem to follow him wherever he goes. He calls himself baseball's Kanye West.
I mean,
but,
well, you can call yourself whatever you want, but when you look at the offense, Seattle is the only team behind the Indians in runs scored.
And not only that, Rick, they made a lot of moves on that ball club. Many people were excited about what Jack Zarensik, their general manager, did in the offseason. And yet they had just a little over 15,000 last night at Safeco Field, and that's a big market. Double play ball, 4-6, and on to first to finish it off.
Second straight inning where Fausto has had the double play ball working. That is 5 now that he's been able to induce, and that's the pitcher's best friend, boy. And when he's on his game, this is what he gets. If you get a base runner, he rolls over on that sinker away. Gruzelanek to Valbuena. See you later.
And so with 2 down, Alex Gonzalez will be the batter. Popped him up. And the shortstop, Valbuena, fighting the sun, makes the grab at the last moment. Might have lost it momentarily, but he hung on. And we'll go to the bottom of the second with no score in Cleveland. inning. Russell Branyan, Matt Laporta, and Luis Valbuena. And with Russell Branyan at the plate, the Blue Jays will shift 3 on the right side. There you see the shift with Jose Bautista playing close to the bag at third. Swing and a miss. Brandon Morrow struck out the final 2 hitters in the first inning. The Indians also drew 2 walks in the first. That's a far better ratio than what they've had over their last 6 games coming in, strikeout to walk ratio, where they have had 63 strikeouts against just 22 walks. Morrow with a 1-2. That's in the dirt. Brandon hit that off of his own foot. Stays 2 balls and 2 strikes. Brandon 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts last night. And Morrow's 2-2 pitch is high and wide, full count.
Well, the way Brandon Morrow throws, a lot of pitches per hitter. He'll walk a lot of guys. He's just about a ball per strike average. You don't see him going deep into a lot of games.
Brandon shoots it back to the screen.
The longest he has gone this year is 7 innings. That was against Kansas City. It was one of his 2 wins. He averages about 17 pitches per inning.
And the payoff pitch. Got him. And that's 3 straight strikeouts for Brandon Morrow. Today after the game, join Bruce Drennan for All Bets Are Off. He'll take calls and emails after the Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care post-game show. That's All Bets Are Off with Bruce today after the game right here on STO. Matt Laporta 0 for 3 in the series opener steps in. And a good breaking ball for strike 1.
Yeah, anytime that's all you have to do is just throw it for get me over, break a ball, strike 1. It'll lock up the hitters because they're geared for his mid-90s fastball.
And another good off-speed pitch, 0-1. Almost looked like a slider, had some good bite to it.
Yeah, it's the 91-mile-an-hour slider is what it is. Look at that. I'll tell you what, if he throws that for a strike, he's going to be unhittable. I mean, that's, that's harder than a lot of guys' fastballs.
100 miles an hour with the heat. Now you see why he was a first-round pick of the Mariners back in 2006 out of University of California. And he just blew it by him at 99. 4 straight Ks for Brandon Morrow.
After he started them off with the first 2 sliders and you're sitting there, what's he going to throw? Well, I'll tell you what, it didn't matter. He can turn around and tell the umpire it sounded high, because that's up there. I mean, you're not going to catch up with it. If you get a piece, you'll be very, very lucky. The Indians already with 10 swings and misses out of his 20 strikes.
Luis Valbuena, 0 for 5 in the series, steps in. took a little something off that fastball, 96 miles an hour.
Well, no, you know, sometimes when you're just free and easy and you let it go, that thing really jumps, and it seems to go a little harder. Sometimes the harder you throw it, it doesn't get there as fast.
Fifth overall pick back in 06. 98 on the corner. 1 and 2 to kill.
You know what it reminds me of a little bit, without the big curveball, is Justin Verlander. He's not afraid to pitch you inside. He's got a good breaking ball.
That one's fouled away. He was traded to the Blue Jays in exchange for Brandon League by Seattle. Got him. Whew. Wicked stuff. 5 straight strikeouts for Brandon Morrow. Top of the third.
Is it Christmas?
July will be halfway to Christmas.
I'll tell you what, it is gorgeous again
you know what?
Today.
He's not in school, so yeah, it is Christmas to him. Third inning here at Progressive Field, and Jose Bautista, Travis Snyder, and Jose Molina will face Fausto Carmona. In the air, deep left, Laporta back, onto the track, and he'll pull it down. No, he dropped the ball. Around second, Bautista going for 3, and he's in there head first with a slide safely. Matt Laporta got back, looked like maybe he mistimed his jump, and then just didn't come up with it.
Well, he got turned around, and it's also a tough sky today, and he hasn't been out there often in left field. You know, when you're not out there, it's not that easy. Bright sunshine, you see that ball's got a little carry to it. There's the sunglasses. He knows he's getting close, and he should have caught it. It goes off the heel of his glove. I just say he hasn't been out there. See it? He was expecting to be hit by the wall before he got there. I mean, before the ball got to his glove. Did they give him a hit on that?
Yes, they did.
That's a ball that should have been caught. I know it's a bright sky and everything like that, but he had time to get back there, and it's just lack of playing time out in left field.
Up the middle, and that's a base hit, and the Blue Jays will take the lead. Travis Snyder continues his hot hitting in this series. That's his 6th hit in 10 at-bats, and he finally hit something soft. Most of his hits have been lasers.
Yeah, I mean, he had a home run and about 3 doubles?
Yeah.
He has really had a great series, and he swung the bat very well. I don't know how that guy came into the series hitting about 100. Well, he's up over 200 now, so Blue Jays will draw first blood.
He was batting 149 coming in. So he's raised his average over 50 points. Jose Molina. Back with a dive is Travis Snyder, who does have 2 stolen bases.
Well, we'll see if they start to run on Carmona. He has 2 double plays that he has induced, but base runners are 9 for 10 in stolen base attempts against him. So we'll see if they start running to try and stay out of the double play.
Runner goes and a ground ball to short. Valbuena looked to second, but no chance to get him. And Snyder in the scoring position with 1 out. So Cito Gaston thinking right along with you there, partner.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to do that. Well, the first fireworks show of the season will take place Friday night when we open up the series against the Detroit Tigers. It'll be a fireworks display synchronized to songs from the Billboard Top 100 Alternative Chart. It's also half-price student ID night. 216-420-HITS or stop by an Indians team shop.
Fred Lewis, tapper back to the mound, his first at bat. Lewis with a high fly ball, deep to right. Chu will make the grab, tagging at second and moving to third is Travis Snyder, but now 2 men are out.
I want to send along some birthday wishes this afternoon. Jesse Johnson II of Cleveland is turning 47 today. So, Jesse, happy birthday. And Mary Donahue is turning 90th today. So, Mary, happy birthday to you.
Pretty good deal. She's turning 90 and she's got a day game to celebrate her birthday around.
No question. Cinco de Mayo, man.
She does not miss. Happy birthday wishes to Indians backstop Mike Redmond, who gets the call on his birthday today.
Oh, is that right? It's his birthday? Well, it's Charlie Nagy, Cinco de Mayo guy. Happy birthday to him. He's in Columbus or somewhere.
1-0 pitch. Bouncing ball wide of third. By rights, Carmona should be out of the inning.
Well, there's no question.
One pitch in the dirt. A run on 3 hits for the Toronto Blue Jays. But that 1 hit that started this inning, a bit tainted Matt Laporta, and it's hard to blame him. As you said, he hasn't had much playing time in left field.
Exactly right.
Strike call, 2-2 the count. The plan going back to spring training was to get him out there, play him a lot in left field, get him ready, but Russell Brandon wasn't healthy. So Laporta played first base almost exclusively throughout the spring.
And it was Brantley, and then Kearns ended up taking over. So Kearns gets an off day in left field today, so you know what? And then Laporta hasn't been swinging the bat, so he hasn't been playing.
Taps it foul.
It's a cruel game.
Especially, go play left field, and oh, by the way, there's not a cloud in sight. We had a bright, sunny day.
Well, it's all part of it. You got to work with it, and you've got to stay sharp. If you're going to play left field or play first base, you got to, hone your skills and, take fly balls every day out there as well as ground balls at first and deal with the sunshine. It's all part of it.
Runner at third, 2 down. And the 2-2 pitch to Aaron Hill. Full count. Struck him out looking. Got the inside corner call. And the inning is over. But the Jays strike first, lead it 1-0, middle of the third. One to nothing as we go to the bottom of the third. The Channel 3 sales team checking in a little afternoon baseball here this afternoon at Progressive Field. And why not? It is a gorgeous day.
Boy, it certainly is.
Blue Jays lead 1-0. Mike Redmond, the birthday boy, leads off here. Bottom of the third. Up high for ball one. Missed up high again with the off-speed pitch. And the count quickly 2-0. Fastball below the knees. 3 balls and no strikes. And he walked him on 4 straight. That's the 3rd walk issued today by Brandon Morrow. And we'll turn it over to the top of the order in the Indians' other 39-year-old in the starting lineup today, Mark Grudzielanek. Time now for our Subway Fresh Face of the game. Shelley Duncan for the Columbus Clippers in his last 7 games has 10 runs batted in. Our Subway Fresh Face of the game. Subway, play hard.
27 ribbies in 25 games. That's impressive.
Mark Grudzielanek takes a strike. Came up empty on that 97-mile-an-hour fastball, 0-2. Mark Grudzielanek was originally an 11th round pick of the Montreal Expos back in 1991. Rolls it to third. Bautista off balance throw on the money. But the tying run moves into scoring position now with 1 out.
Well, Sunday will be the first Kids Fun Day of the season. It's all starting up again. The Indians will close out that series against the Detroit Tigers. It starts at 11 o'clock with special kids activity out on the Gateway Plaza. It's also Mother's Day, and all women and kids 12 and under will receive slider slippers. That'll all take place Sunday, and it'll actually wrap up this homestand. This 9-game, 10-day homestand. Or I should say 11, because Monday's off too, right?
That's correct. 9 years after the Montreal Expos drafted Mark Grudzielanek, they spent a third-round pick on this guy, Grady Sizemore. 1-0 pitch. And a strike over the inside corner. Grady has gone 3 for 9 in the series.
Boy, you remember that era or that time where Montreal was just supplying the major leagues with baseball players?
They were loaded year after year after year.
They sure were. It didn't matter whether it's pitchers, position players. Montreal couldn't afford to keep them up there, and boy, they'd make trades. And
I mean, you go back to the days of El Gato Grande, Andres Galarraga, and Will Cordero, and Delino DeShields. It just seemed like
Guerrero.
Yeah.
Vladdy, I mean, you can go on, and Tim Raines, and
well, you want to go back that far? We go Warren Cromartie.
Yeah,
they've
that's
had
right.
Tremendous talent down through the years. Trying to remember, Rick, did Gary Carter start out with Montreal also?
Yeah, sure did, before he went to the Mets.
Yeah. In fact, Jackie Robinson, when they were still a AAA organization, was a Montreal Expo. 1-2 pitch. Rocketed deep right field. Short hops the fence. Around third, Mike Redmond will score the tying run, and sliding in with a double is Grady Sizemore. His 6th two-bagger of the year, his 12th run batted in, and we're back to even at 1 apiece. The ball hit so hard it didn't have enough time to get up in the air to get out of here.
Yeah, still, it's a vicious line drive on a slider down and in that Grady just drops the bat hat on. That's going to be our McDonald's. I'm loving it. And you can see how quickly that ball got out to the wall. That was what you call a vicious line drive, a blue darter. So it's a new ball game. Grady ties it up with 1 out here in the third.
And now Shin-Soo Choo. Up high. Down goes Choo. Each team had a batter hit by a pitch in last night's game.
I'll tell you what, this is scary right here.
When you got a guy throwing that hard?
Yeah, up at the coconut, man, as hard as he's throwing.
Choo chased maybe. And it's 1-1. The harder they throw, the harder it is to lay off that high pitch, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because that's you can pick it up. When he's throwing that ball down in the zone at 96 to 98, it's pretty much unhittable. You see it much better coming out of his hands when it's up.
Like that right there.
But it's so hard, you just can't hit it.
One ball and 2 strikes. And he made quick work of Choo for his 6th strikeout here today. 2 down in the inning.
There it is. It's a high fastball, right? But that was a good pitch. I mean, that still had the strike zone. He didn't elevate that one to get it out of the zone. You can see that tentative swing right there that Chu takes. Almost like he didn't pick the ball up and it got on him so quickly.
From somebody who's never even stood in and seen firsthand a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, it's amazing what a difference 2 to 3 miles an hour can make from, say, Rick, 92, 93 to 96, 97.
Oh, gosh, yes. Just explodes on you.
Peralta shoots it out of play. I almost wonder if as a hitter, it's a moral victory just to make a little contact to foul it off once in a while.
Well, the minute you start getting it geared up to where you can catch up to it, then they start throwing a breaking ball or change speeds on you, and that's the old equalizer.
Jose Molina went out to talk with Brandon Morrow.
I think the shorter you can keep your swing against a guy that throws this hard, the better off you are, because he will supply the power. You know what I mean? The bigger or the longer your swing is, that's just more time for that ball to come in and eat you up. You've got to almost just shorten it up like a knuckleballer. And with the knuckleballer, you let it get on you. But with this guy, you just play pepper with him if you want to put it in play. Or hit the ball.
Two-one pitch. And there's the off-speed 90-mile-an-hour pitch.
It's a slider. I mean, his goes down. You know, it's almost like a curveball. That's his slider at 90. It's got a little hump to it at 90 miles an hour. That's amazing.
There's his 60th pitch of the afternoon. That's the only drawback for him so far today. Popped up. Should get him out of the inning. Vernon Wells in center field makes the grab. But the Indians come back to tie it on the RBI double by Grady Sizemore. We're even up at one apiece through 3. Vistas. And he's cracking open a book. That's all for show.
Who was that?
The Mad Dog. The often imitated, never duplicated.
Look at that. Unbelievable. You're right. That's eyewash.
Swing and a miss. Adam Lynn looking for his first hit in the series. Did he chase after it? Nope. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, here's a guy that's really struggling. And doesn't it seem like anytime you're struggling, what's he, 0 for 18, 0 for his last 19, you end up in the count 0 for 2, 0 and 2. 0 for 19. This is a guy last year that didn't he get off to such a great start, driving in runs early in the year?
Deep down the right field line, heading for the corner, and it's foul by inches. He was close to putting Toronto right back in front, but just a little bit out in front of it.
Well, he was trying to guide it back. Would not have been a home run. It would have been a double probably, but it's foul. Look at Carmona. He's got a little body English. It's funny when you watch the pitcher and then you watch the hitter, and they both want this thing. One's calling it foul, one wants it fair.
Guys celebrating Cinco de Mayo here at Progressive Field as Adam Lynn lines it up the middle. You were talking about Adam Lynn, Rick. Last year he had 114 runs batted in.
Right.
That was the most for a J since Carlos Delgado's 145 and Vernon Wells' 117 and 03.
Well, I remember we saw him early last year, and this kid, I mean, everything he was hitting homers to left field. He was hitting the home run ball. He had the RBIs galore.
He was the designated hitter recipient of the Silver Slugger Award. Now Vernon Wells, who had a base hit his first time up. One ball, one strike. Tied at 1 here in the 4th inning. We'll see what Cito does here. Adam Lynn, really not much of a base runner.
I know, and you got your 4th place hitter up, so I don't know if you want to make him swing the bat. He's been so hot, and he's a doubles machine. You just go ahead and let him pick his pitch.
Vernon fouled that off of his foot. 2-2 the count.
Wells is the type of hitter, if he sees something he likes, he's going to get after it quickly. He doesn't like to walk a whole lot. Matter of fact, he's walked 11 times this year. He has 106 at bats.
Did the same thing again. And right now he's saying, are you kidding me? Did I just do that again?
Same pitch. Nobody feels sorry for you when you're like the pitcher. It's the same pitch, and he does the same thing. You hit the top half of the ball, it goes directly down into your foot. I can't believe it. Look at the look. It's not fun. I don't mean to be laughing at him because I know it hurts.
Maybe try to open that stance up a little bit more. And he swung and missed. Almost looked like his heart wasn't in it. Second strikeout for Carmona, 1 down here in the 4th. Good pitch by Carmona.
Well, when you start opening up a little bit more, that's what they do to you. Throw it away, and you can't reach it. You start cheating for that sinker in, and you get the breaking ball away.
So Fausto will face Lyle Overbay, who he induced to hit into a double play his last time up. He might do it again. They get one at second. The relay is in time. An inning-ending double play. We'll go to the bottom of the fourth here in Cleveland, tied at 1. Are tied at 1 going to the bottom of the fourth inning. Brandon Morrow, the Toronto starter, has given up 1 run on 1 hit through 3. He has thrown 60 pitches. 37 of them have been for strikes. And he has routinely hit 97, 98, 99, and 100 on the radar gun, causing 15 swings and misses from the Indians so far here today. Travis Hafner struck out his first time up. Blast this ball deep to right center field. Wells looking up. Snyder looking up. Gone for Hafner. His 3rd home run of the year. And a towering blast off of Brandon Morrow puts the Tribe in front 2-1. That's what you were just talking about. The pitcher will supply the power.
Oh, yes.
And Hafner just put a nice short swing on that ball.
Hey, see, I mean, he was ready to hit the fastball. And he really had a short, quick swing to the baseball. And that ball, he got under it enough that it had some great carry to it. So Hafner jumps on the fastball, hits his 3rd homer. Morrow gives up his 4th, and the Indians will take a 2-1 lead.
Russell Brandon shoots it back foul. Now the 1-1 pitch. Over their last 9 games plus today, the Indians have hit 4 home runs. All 4 have been solo shots. Now Russell Brandon hits a high pop foul down into the seats.
That's their first home run in what, about 92 innings?
Since the 2nd inning of Saturday's game.
By Toronto, yeah. By Toronto, I'm talking about.
For Toronto. Yeah. They started out at 89, so there's 90, 91, right. 92.
Yeah, 92 innings.
Brandon is out looking. That's the first called third strike on the Indians today. 7 strikeouts from Morrow. 1 down in the 4th inning.
Well, it's Faith and Family Day here at the ballpark when the Indians take on the Tigers. That'll be Saturday, the middle game of the 3-game series. There will be a special post-game concert featuring the Newsboys. That's presented by the Alive Festival. Great seats still available. Groups of 25 or more can save 50%.
Matt Laporta chases after that high pitch. Down in the dirt. Now Brandon Morrow's 1-1 pitch. Tried to hold up, went too far. A ball and 2 strikes. Chris Susi checking in with us today, following us via Facebook, wondering how does Brandon Morrow have an ERA coming in of 5.46 from what we've seen here today? Well, his first 2 starts were rather rough against Baltimore and the White Sox as Laporta singles to right center. Morrow gave up 12 runs, earned runs, in his first 2 starts of the year. And it's pretty much shut everybody down since then. But that skews those numbers.
Sure it does. You're going to be playing catch-up ever since. Here you go. A high fastball Laporta's able to get on top of. So there's one guy that got on top of it with 2 strikes. Put it in play and got a base hit.
Luis Valbuena looks at a ball outside. If you've got a question or a comment, you can follow us this year on Facebook. Log on to facebook.com/STOMatt. The 1-0 pitch from Brandon Morrow. Inside at 96 miles an hour. And now the count 2-0.
You know, also Morrow was a guy that came out of the bullpen, too. He made 10 starts last year. He's still getting used to the starting rotation. But there's a lot of upside with his arm and, with the kind of stuff he has. And he's a young starter, so given that he's going to get an opportunity to start every 5 days, this guy certainly does have a bright future.
Some teams are always going to be in that decision process when you've got a guy like this with that kind of an arm. Where is he more valuable, in the rotation or in the back end of your bullpen?
Well, Toronto's always been a pitching-oriented organization. You know, they've had arms for years and years. They had some of the best pitching last year. You know, when you look at ERA and their bullpen and starters, they've always been built around their starting pitching.
The 3-1 pitch, and it's ball 4. Make that 4th walk issued by Morrow today, and the Indians have 2 on with only 1 out here in the 4th inning.
Well, and this is how his ERA can get up there. You see, he has opportunities. You get a single, you walk a guy, you've got to take advantage of him when you have base runners. We did mention, he will walk a lot of guys, but he can still strike them out and get out of the inning. So he has 20 walks on the year. And he has 40 strikeouts.
76th pitch of the day. Good 97-mile-an-hour heater past Mike Redmond, who walked and scored the Indians' first run today in the 3rd inning. In fact, in that at-bat, Morrow never threw him a strike 4 straight to put Redmond aboard.
That's after he had punched out his last 5 hitters that he faced.
Isn't that amazing how that can happen? Strike out 5 in a row and then walk the 9-hitter on 4 straight.
And he comes around to score.
Cinco de Mayo here at Progressive Field. Some folks may be cutting out early from work on a Wednesday. A gorgeous sunny afternoon. Two on, one out. The 0-2 pitch. And he foul tipped it into the glove of Molina for the 8th strikeout today. 2 down. Just as the words left your mouth, he comes back to make you look like a prophet. He can walk him, but he can come right back and strike him out, too, to make up for some of those misgivings.
That's exactly right. That's where this guy in the bullpen, you like to have guys with power arms. I mean, he can go either way.
Well,
he's probably more important for this ball club to get him 21 outs as opposed to going out and giving me 3.
If you've already got a pretty good starting rotation, then he goes right to the bullpen. But right now, with some holes, some question marks, some injuries, this is where he gives them the most value.
Could you imagine what this guy would do if he only had to face 3 hitters or 4 hitters, 1 inning? Where some of these guys come out. Remember Zach Greinke, who was starting? They ended up putting him in the bullpen, and he went from throwing 92 to 96, 97.
Brazzolani with a line drive left field and a diving catch made by Fred Lewis. A terrific grab by Lewis, who hangs on, and the inning is over as Brandon Morrow survives. But Travis Hafner has put the Tribe in front 2-1. McCafe Frappes, caramel or mocha, blended with a hint of coffee and ice. McDonald's, I'm loving it. By KeyBank, stop in and start a conversation and unlock your possibilities. And by Panini's, visit paninisgrill.com for a list of new locations. Now we go to the 5th inning here at Progressive Field. 2-1, Tribe on top. Alex Gonzalez to lead it off for Toronto. Popped him back towards us, and down below it goes. Let's look at our GMC 5-star league leaders in doubles. And where you will see the Blue Jays just 1 ahead now of the Detroit Tigers.
Tigers right there, too, huh?
It's our GMC league leaders, brought to you by the GMC Sierra. On his way to second goes Gonzalez.
Talk about that doubles. Make it 1 more.
Never send a truck to do a Sierra's job. Alex Gonzalez with a leadoff 2-bagger. Second extra base hit today for Toronto. But that one was legit.
See, Redmond's sitting inside, and Fausto couldn't quite get it in there. He left it out over the plate, and you can see where Gonzalez let his hands do the work right there, got through the hitting area. He will get his 12th double to tie Wells for the team lead.
Here is Jose Bautista, who got their first extra base hit on a fly ball to deep left that Matt Laporta got under, but looked like he just mistimed his jump, maybe lost track of where he was on the warning track, and the ball hit him right in the heel of the glove. And Bautista was credited with a triple. But Laporta playing that hop off the wall, that bounce off the wall, like he's been out there all season long.
Well, the times we've seen him play the outfield, he's fine.
Well, let's see who's going to take this one, looking right up into that sun.
Yeah,
Peralta.
the gloves.
Johnny's got it. One away. Tonight at 6, turn to STO for Outdoors Ohio. The Browns' Joe Thomas and the Plain Dealers' Darcy Egan takes a look at the latest hunting decoys. You might want to turn in, Rick. Outdoors Ohio tonight at 6, only on Sports Time Ohio.
Hunting decoys?
Yeah, for out there in your
I'm not much of a hunter, but I like the decoys.
You can put them in the swimming pool.
Yes,
take target
exactly.
practice.
They sit in the middle of the road when I'm on the way home anyway.
Get AJ a bow and arrow set, and you can teach him.
You can teach me.
Travis Snyder pops it foul. This is headed for the seats. Peralta won't get to that.
Well, Carmona is the one that now, he's the one that called Redmond out. He wants to talk to Mike Redmond. You know, Carmona, a guy that, you know, he's really a shy kid. He has a good time. He enjoys messing around, but he stays by himself, man. He's pretty much a loner. But he has he has turned it around this year.
The 0-1 almost hit him. And it's now even at a ball and a strike to Snyder, who drove in a run in the third. Toronto's lone tally so far today. Swung out and missed. 1 ball and 2 strikes. I'd have to say Travis Snyder is one of the few guys who looks as young as he is. So many guys, even when they're young, in their early 20s, they already look like mature adult men. This guy, he still looks like a young kid.
Yeah, he sure does. He sure does. But he reminds me of swinging the bat. Baby Matt Stairs. He gets up there and he swings it hard, man.
Able to check on a ball down low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. See, he generates some power. And,
yes.
And not that, what do you call, lift and separate power. He hits some scorching line drives.
Hit a laser beam shot out of here in game 1. I mean, it took about 2.8 seconds to get out over the right field fence. It was about a 15, 20 feet in the air, and you could have hung clothes on it to dry.
I'll bet you could hear it whistling past you if you were on the field. Ooh, close pitch, didn't get the call. Full count. Travis Snyder 6 for 10 in the series with 3 doubles and a homer.
Well, he hit the 1 ball off Perez's foot last night.
Mm-hmm.
You know, came up that first pitch. Perez comes out of the bullpen and bang.
That was the first ball he hit in the series that wasn't for extra bases.
No, that was for extra pain.
Carmona will cover the bag at first. Nicely done as Grudzalanek feeds him with the throw, and that is out number 2 with Gonzalez moving over to third. The catcher, Jose Molina. Bounced out to short his first time up today. Molina was applauded by his manager, Cito Gaston. Both he and John Buck, he feels like, have given them a terrific behind-the-plate tandem as far as dealing with the pitching staff. And as we talked about earlier, when you've got this many young pitchers on a rotation and their starting rotation, it's good to have two veteran catchers to try and work them through.
You know, it certainly is when they know the hitters of the league and the pitchers can just put trust into their catchers on the game calling. You know, when you go down there and, just listen to what they do. They know what they're doing. They know the hitters.
Both Molina and Mike Redmond, two veterans in the starting lineup today. Here's the 0-2. Ball and 2 strikes now, the count. Tying run at third with 2 down. Here in the 5th. Carmona's 1-2 pitch is lined to center field, and we are tied at 2. Jose Molina, with just his 3rd run batted in on the season, delivers the 2-out RBI hit to tie the game.
Boy, too bad. Right after the Indians take the lead, they come back and give it right back and let them tie it up. Bottom part of the lineup, Fausto had a chance to get out of that inning after the leadoff double, but Molina, Jose, the 9th place hitter, he left that little sinker up, and he takes advantage of it and ties the game. Don't want to say it again, but 0-2. Had him down 0-2.
And Fred Lewis 0 for 2 will be the batter. Remember that one year, I think it was 07. Paul Bird.
I was going to say, I know exactly where you're going with this. Paul Bird gave up more 0-2 base hits than anybody I've ever seen, but that's all he did was throw strikes. Well, I'll tell you what, this kid made a saving catch right there. A couple of guys on base. That ball's sinking. It's a good play to end the inning. But, yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. I asked him. I says, you get to 0-2. And that's where Paul used to throw about 70% strikes throughout the course of the game. He says, hey, they're going to get their hits. They're going to get them. But as a pitching coach, I guess there's different ways to look at it. But when you work so hard to get a guy 0-2, you just don't want to make a mistake. And it's not just the 0-2 base hit. A guy may work his way back in, to a count. And you're going to give up. Everybody's going to give up 0-2 base hits. But that's where you should really dominate hitters, when you have stuff like Carmona.
Two balls and a strike to count on Fred Lewis with a runner at first, 2 down. And a strike called. Evens the count. Line toward left, and it sinks in front of Laporta, who kicks it back toward the infield, but Molina will stop at second base. So 2 straight 2-out hits for Toronto, and the inning stays alive for the dangerous Aaron Hill.
Well, he got inside a little bit, and Hill Lewis just goes the other way. Laporta coming on. He wanted to go dive for it, but that ball way in front. So another 2-out hit, 3 hits in the inning, and Tim Belch is going to go out and try and calm Fausto down a little bit here in the top of the 5th. Carmona at 69 pitches. He has given up 7 hits. But in this inning, the 2-out RBI ties the game at 2.
"20 pitches in this inning for Fausto Carmona, who has benefited throughout much of the day from the double play ball. 3 turn behind him. The only innings in which he has not had a double play turned, the Blue Jays have scored. Aaron Hill looks at a ball outside.
Situation also with the guy on second base, a base hit to any one of the outfield positions, you would have an opportunity to throw out Molina, who is the base runner at second.
Two balls, no strikes. Now the 2-0. Up the middle, hit Carmona. He knocks it down, throws him out, and he'll walk gingerly off the field. 2-2, middle of the 5th. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum down on the lakefront. And a Cinco de Mayo celebration here at Progressive Field. Now that right there is an impressive lid.
Yes, it is.
I used to have one just like that.
You used to celebrate it, Cinco de Mayo. Well, I believe that. I've seen your cowboy hats.
Caballero. Here's Grady Sizemore, who drove in a run with a double in the 3rd. Grady 1 for 2 today, 4 for 10 in the series. And there's a high pop, left field routine for Fred Lewis. 1 away. This game recap brought to you by your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. For a dealer near you, visit buyatoyota.com. Grady Sizemore's RBI double in the third tied the game at 1. Travis Hafner's solo homer in the fourth put the Indians on top 2-1. But then Jose Molina with an RBI 2-out single tied the game at 2. There's Benji, Yadier, and Jose
I
Molina.
know. Take your pick. I was going to call him Benji a couple of times today.
Well, Benji and Jose look very, very similar. Same body types. They run when they look the same when they're running down the line.
Well, when they both played with the Angels, you couldn't tell who was catching.
Shin-Soo Choo has walked and struck out. '85th pitch of the day for Brandon Morrow. And a good change of pace. Has him ahead in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. You were talking about Brandon Morrow and, his ability to pitch out of the bullpen. He had 10 saves back in 08. Taking it to the bag himself is Lyle Overbay, 2 down. Let's go back to the studios right now for an in-game update. Here's Al Pawlowski with the latest on the Orioles and the Yankees.
Hey, Matt and Rick. Yeah, they're underway in New York. Bottom of the first inning, Nick Johnson once again a Yankee and leaving the yard. Second time he's done that this year. Solo shot made it 1-0. Yankees get a swisher homer in the second. They're up 2-0. Second inning at Yankee Stadium.
New York trying to run their win streak to 4 in a row. Baltimore trying to avoid their Major League leading 21st loss. What's interesting about Brandon Morrow, that same year he had the 10 saves. On September 5th, he no-hit the Yankees for 7 2/3 innings, becoming at that time the first player in more than 40 years to take a no-hitter that far into a game in the first start of his career.
Well, that's a very impressive against a very good lineup.
So from the outset of his career, 10 saves, took a no-hitter into the 8th. There was some question as to where does he fit best, back end of the bullpen or in the rotation. Today he's doing it well from the rotation end of things. We are tied at 2 through 5. Discount of the game is Rick's favorite, Kellogg's Rice Krispie Treats for $1.98 at any Northeast Ohio Mark's location.
So head into your nearest Marks, where you'll find a huge selection and low prices every day.
But you better hurry for those Rice Krispie treats before Arch buys them all out.
Mm-hmm. I can make them.
Yeah, I want to see that. Do you know where the oven is?
Absolutely. Okay, Emerald.
That's right.
I've been taking lessons from Chef James here in the off season.
You got to fend for yourself every once in a while.
You think?
1-1 pitch. Outside, 2 balls and a strike. Or you just order out all the time, one or the other.
No, I don't do that.
Outside, 3 balls and a strike. 2-2 our score. Blue Jays have out-hit the Indians 7-3. But Carmona's had 3 double plays turned behind him.
Well, as you said, the innings that he has not had a double play, they have scored. They scored their 1 run in the 3rd, 1 in the 5th. Well, that 1 in the 3rd was the leadoff triple. That ball should have been caught, so. Now the second walk by Carmona.
Well, he's had 10 ground ball outs. He'll be looking for more now with Vernon Wells coming to the plate. The scoreboard update brought to you by Wendy's. You know when it's real. Wendy's. And Redmond again out to the mound to talk with Carmona. I don't know how important it is, but I think Mike Redmond certainly should get some credit for Carmona's turnaround this year, because you can tell he's had a good feel for Fausto and how to manage him through some of the rough spots in the game.
Well, it helps when you have a confidence, or, that guy can look in there and feel comfortable with, what you're putting down. You keep him going. You don't interrupt him. He just has a confidence of when you put down the fingers to throw. And ask Mike Redmond. He said it's not that tough. You just got to, slow him down a little bit. The stuff he has in the baseball, the key is just sit in the middle of the plate, let him throw strikes. He's made the adjustment of moving over on the rubber from last year to this year. I think that has had the biggest impact. And he's ended up, last year where he could not get left-handers out. He's been more successful against lefties this year than righties.
Strike called.
And the biggest part is moving over on that right side of the rubber. He's able to throw to the outside part of the plate, away from the right-handers or into the left-handers. Mm-hmm. And then his natural movement takes over. He's always had good stuff. It's just a matter of commanding it, maintaining it. What he does is in his stride, he's so big. And, he can get inconsistent, and a lot of times he can overthrow sometimes.
Well, I wonder if that's the issue here, because he's walked the first 2. And that brings up Lyle Overbay, who twice today has hit into a double play. That could be in the back of Overbay's mind. Certainly, if you're Fausto Carmona, you hope it is.
Well, you take a good long look at Butterfield, Brian Butterfield down there at third base, because he might put a hit and run on here now instead of the bunt. Cito doesn't like to bunt.
Well, even though Overbay has struggled mightily this year, he's got a great track record as a good hitter. And maybe that would make him, as he chops it to first.
He has seen 6 pitches, and he's made 5 outs. So he wasn't going to spot him anything. He tried to get after it early. They just didn't hit it hard enough to where he could turn it. He rolls over on it, and Branyan has to sit back. You're only going to get the lead runner, but now they have runners at the corners. But the other good thing is that Carmona has a chance for another ground ball double play to get out of this.
Alex Gonzalez doubled and scored his last time up. Ripped to third, and what a grab made by Johnny Peralta. That saved a run and potentially a big rally for the Blue Jays.
He hit the ball right on the nose, man. That's not much you can do. Peralta with a nice catch, go ranging to his left. Falls down, makes the catch. Both base runners able to get back, but that saves a base hit right there. Ball hit sharply. That's a hang with him.
The pitch to Bautista is low for ball one. Carmona, 50 of his 85 pitches have been for strikes. Trying to avoid the 2-out damage now that cost him the lead last inning. Popped up, foul ground, and into the seats. Nice grab on the big hop over there. Got his vacation shirt already on. One pitch. 2 balls and a strike. The runner at third is Adam Lynn. Lyle Overbay stands at first with 2 down. And Jose Bautista at the plate. 2-1 pitch. Really jammed him. Balbuena to second to end the inning. Good job of working around the 2 walks to start the frame for Carmona. And we'll go to the bottom of the 6th. Still tied at 2. Ashtabula radio legend Joe Pete taking in today's action. Joe does a terrific job of keeping the Ashtabula sports fans in tune. He's there with his buddy Dale Milano, who also works alongside Joe during the high school sports scene. Does a lot of play-by-play for the high school games of the week, football and baseball, basketball.
So he's a busy man.
He
but
is
he's
indeed.
Enjoying a baseball game this afternoon.
Yes, indeed.
And it's a good one.
2-2 our score. Travis Hafner, Russell Branyan, and Matt Laporta. Hafner hit a monster homer his last time up. Oh, and he got him within a foot of the first pitch. Did you hear that yelp?
Yeah. Well, he didn't get out of the way. That had to hurt.
Listen in again. We're not laughing at you, Travis. We're laughing with you. Oh, boy. So he's aboard.
That's a painful way to get aboard.
Well, as we said earlier, this guy, his off-speed stuff is 90 miles an hour, so. Russell Branyan trying to line it the other way, and he does. Just over the glove of Bautista. Hafner really looks like he was in pain going down to second base. Maybe just because he's still wearing the effects of that ball that drilled him in the foot. Aaron Hill asking Hafner if he's all right. Branyan, nice little inside outer here. Matt Laporta, 1 out of 2 with a single his last time up, is the batter. 91 pitches on the day here for Brandon Morrow. Indians with a chance now to regain the lead.
Yeah, take advantage of this inning. You've got it set up. First and second, nobody out. Getting down to the bottom part of that lineup.
And Laporta singles into left field. Hafner into third. He'll have to hold there. That ball got quickly to Fred Lewis. And the bases are loaded with nobody out.
Well, he gets a fastball up again, so that's back-to-back hits for Matt Laporta. And he got enough of it, moves the runners along. Maybe somebody a little surprised he's not bunting, but they don't want to give up the out. Manny Acta says, no, sir. He's going to take his chances, rolled the dice, and it paid off for him right there because now the Indians with the bases loaded, nobody out, and a chance to have a big inning.
Valbuena has struck out and walked. Hit a grand slam earlier this year in Detroit. Takes a strike on the outside corner. In fact, you thought that may have led to some of his early season offensive problems because he started to try to pull too much.
You know, he had a Verlander fastball about 97. And he did. He pulled it down the line. It was a grand slam. And a lot of times, young, small hitters or guys that aren't power hitters have a tendency to want to do that all the time when you get one early. You know, Chu also has a grand slam, and this team has not been very good with the bases loaded since the Chu grand slam here. You know, you just got to try and get a base hit, score one at a time. Keep going.
Missed inside. 2 balls and a strike. Activity in that Blue Jay bullpen, but right now it's Brandon Morrow's game. With the score tied at 2. Bases loaded, nobody out. Sean Camp, who worked last night, getting loose. Valbuena rips it just foul. Wide of the bag at first. Travis Hafner, the runner at third. Russell Branyan at first. Russell Branyan at second. And Matt Laporta down at first. Manny Acta wondering if Luis Valbuena will deliver here in the clutch. And the 2-2. High, full count. Brandon Morrow has struck out 8 Indians hitters here today.
He sure has, and there's no room for error here. It's full count, bases loaded. You got a Valbuena. Look for his fastball, make him get it down a little bit, and try and put a good swing on it.
The payoff pitch is swung on and missed. Number 9 for Morrow. 1 down here in the 6th, and Valbuena asking home plate umpire Ron Colpa if he swung at a strike.
Well, it's borderline and probably too close to take. It might have been a ball up and away, but he has been calling a high strike today. So you know what? You got to offer. You can't take that strike with a man on third base, so he ends up swinging at it and comes up empty. So ties a career high now with 9 punch-outs.
And now Mike Redmond, who struck out his last time up. Did he go? It was in the dirt, and yes, says first base ump Lance Barksdale. Sure didn't look like Redmond offered at it from up here, but he's quickly in an 0-1 hole.
Well, that swing looks like he did. It's still hard to tell unless you get that side angle.
The 0-1 to Redmond. Line to right field, a base hit. That'll bring home Hafner. Indians grab the lead. Brandon around third will hold there. Mike Redmond on his 39th birthday delivers the go-ahead run.
Well, the Red Dog took advantage of it. He got a fastball up, and he put a short swing on it, line drive. Just put the ball in play, and good things will happen. And he gets a base knock, and the Indians now take a 3-2 lead for Redmond, his third ribby. And it looks like Cito Gaston's going to pull the plug here on Brandon Morrow.
Yes, indeed. Mike Redmond delivers the knockout blow as Brandon Morrow will head to the showers. The Indians have a 3-2 lead. We'll be right back. Brandon Morrow out after 5 1/3 innings, and Sean Kemp coming on for the 12th time this year. A win, a loss, ERA .251. He's walked 2, struck out 11 in 13 innings of work. So pretty impressive numbers for Sean Kemp.
Still another good opportunity to add on to this lead. Now they had the bases loaded, nobody out. They got the strikeout and then the base hit. So they have one in. Love to get one more in here before this inning ends.
Sean Kemp gave up a double to Shin-Soo Choo last night, but also had a strikeout in his 2/3 of an inning. Ground ball to second base. They'll get one there, and Gonzalez turns the double play to end the inning. But the Tribe breaks the tie thanks to Mike Redmond's RBI single. And we'll go to the 7th, 3-2 Cleveland. Find out more of what's possible at att.com. AT&T, rethink possible. Buy the Sierra from GMC. Never send a truck to do a Sierra's job. And by Wendy's. You know when it's real. Wendy's.
His stash is falling off.
Cinco de Mayo sans moustache.
He needs some tape. Let's go get Al from L.A. He'll give him some tape to hold that stash up.
Oh, yes. Alan didn't care so much for the tape.
Well, no, Murph didn't care so much for the tape up there.
Oh, Alan used different kind of tape. He used Scotch tape. That's
tape,
bad. No good.
Yeah, Q used the white tape. Scotch tape is bad on the stash.
Travis Snyder fouls a pitch back. Indians on top 3-2. Fausto Carmona, 16 of 26 first pitch strikes. 12 ground ball outs. High drive, deep right field. Chu backing up, leaps up, and he made the catch. What a terrific play by Shin-Soo Choo. It looked like that ball was going to stretch its way out of here, but Chu able to leap up and take it away.
Yeah, it was perfect timing by Chu. And this kid, the kind of series he has had, you know, it was awfully close. If it could have been a home run, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not, but Chu makes a great catch. At least robs him of an extra base hit. And he feels the wall. He jumps up. Perfect timing. Nice play by Chu.
Jose Molina, tapper foul. Tony Sipp beginning to loosen in the Tribe pen. Molina looks at a ball down low, 1-1. The 1-1 pitch is a little bit too low. 2 balls and a strike. Minnesota leads Detroit 3-2. They're in the 4th inning at Target Field. Twins trying to run their win streak to 4 straight. And if they can do that, they would become just the 2nd team to go 10 games over 500. The other team that could do it if they win today is St. Louis. Both the Cardinals and Twins are 18-9. The only team already 10 games over 500.
Tampa.
Oh, you know what? New York is also. They're 18-8. But Tampa's 19-7. They are something else. Talked earlier about it. They're 10-1 at home on the road this year.
Yeah, playing. They're solid. They're a solid ball club.
Payoff pitch up high. So a one-out walk to the number 9 hitter will turn us over to the top of the order, and that's going to bring out Manny Acton. We'll have a pitching change here. So the bullpen bringing in Tony Sipp for the 13th time this year. No wins or losses. Earned on average 279. He's walked 7, struck out 9 in 9 2/3 innings. Your call to the bullpen brought to you by AT&T, a better 3G experience.
Well, yeah, left-handers hitting just 100 off Tony this year. Right-handers just 158. He's done a nice job against both. Carmona this afternoon, 6 1/3. 7 hits, 2 runs in day baseball. That last walk got him. That he still has a chance to win this ball game if the bullpen can come up and get a few outs.
Fred Lewis 1 for 3, singled his last time up. Looks at strike 1 from Tony Sipp.
Tony's done a nice job this year where he's had 9 inherited runners and none have scored. So he has done a good job. The Indians bullpen has done a good job in that department.
Swung on and missed. 0-2 the count. Good stop by Lou Marson there, 1-2. Pretty much the only way Jose Molina is going to move into scoring position without a hit is if you throw it to the backstop.
Well, I'm just wondering, too. My first thought process is if he gets to second base, do they pinch run for him out there? Because, remember, he is the tying run in this game.
Line to right field.
Like now.
And Chu misplays it. It'll go to the fence. Molina lumbering around second on his way to third. They'll have to hold him there. And the Indians catch a break because with the heavy-legged Molina running, no chance to score on that play.
Well, that's another double, and he hit a rocket. And you're right, Chu just did. He played that into a double. And, I mean, he's got one speed, and that's slow. And look at that ball. As he comes in and then starts breaking back, and he didn't realize how hard that ball was hit. He broke the wrong way on it. The ball gets by him. Normal runner probably would have scored, or they may have sent him. But they still have a good opportunity. 1 out. Runners at second and third. But they're going to stay with Molina at third base.
Aaron Hill 0 for 2. Swung on and missed. Mike Redmond. I'm not sure if anything happened when he was running the bases. With Lou Marson taking over this inning defensively. We'll have to check and see if we get any word on Mike Redmond. Not normally a defensive replacement move when you put him in there in a situation like this. Part of the reason he gets the start is to give Marson the day off.
Well, let's take a look and see if we see anything. There's this base hit.
Looks like he's limping.
He's hobbling.
Yeah.
Something happened. Well, he said it's his birthday, unless it's old age. I know what he feels like. Got to go for the punch out now.
Tony Sipp deals. Just missed inside, and it's a ball and 2 strikes.
Well, and that's a good pitch. He went down there and tried to make a perfect pitch, locked him out inside. But it was a very good 0-2 pitch.
Struck him out looking. Aaron Hill not happy. That's out number 2 and a big out for Tony Sipp.
Boy, it sure was. He had the opportunity. He got ahead of him and, backed him off. So he set him up very nicely in this sequence because then he comes back with that nice hook. And it was there, man. There's no question about it. That had the plate. It was high enough. Nice little breaking ball by Sipp and gets the second out.
Swung on and missed as Adam Lind out in front. The 0-1 delivery. Not quite. 7 of these 10 pitches have been for strikes from Tony Sipp. As he tries to hold a 1-run lead for the Tribe. Second and third, 2 down. And the 1-1 pitch popped up, foul.
That's going to come back.
Peralta over in front of the dugout. Backhands it, makes the catch. So Tony Sipp gets out of a jam. And the Blue Jays strand runners at second and third. And the Indians stay on top 3-2. beverage and a delicious overstuffed sandwich at Panini's. Their Chagrin Falls spot will be opening soon, and for a list of all their locations, visit paninisgrill.com. New pitcher coming on, left-hander Rami Lewis for the 4th time this year. Oh, this is a guy I don't believe we've had a chance to see.
No, he's a rookie this year. We have not seen him. He's the second lefter out of that bullpen. Camp came in and got the double play ball and did his job, so now turn it over to Lewis. He's going to get the left-handed part of the lineup. Sizemore, Chu, and Peralta. And he's tough on lefties. They're just 1 for 7 this year off him. So maybe Cito Gasson bring him in just for the left-handed part of this lineup. Indians still up a run, bottom of the 7th. They'd love to try and get a little more insurance here.
Off day tomorrow for the Tribe. The Tigers will come to town this weekend. And I believe Al is standing by with an update on that Tigers-Twins game when we have a moment. Grady Sizemore looks at a ball outside. The 1-0 pitch. Hit that off of his front foot.
I don't know if that was his leg or his knee. Didn't sound like a foot. Take a look and see. Yeah, that's right below the knee.
Gosh, that's really beating yourself up. Up and in, almost got him, and I think it got the umpire.
Yeah, it did. But I don't know if Molina just barely got leather on it before it hit Ron Kulpa. That's the umpire. Got to hate this. I mean, the catcher, you see, just barely deflects it. It goes off his glove. It got him on the forearm. Yeah.
Forearm burger. 2-1 pitch.
Oh.
Broke the bat. Look out. The barrel went past Lewis, who never saw it. Luckily for him, it was well past him, but he never seemed to realize how close the bat was. He was watching the ball, which went one direction, and the bat went the other.
Well, it sure did. You're right. He didn't even see it.
Rami Lewis, originally a 4th-round pick of the Baltimore Orioles back in 2001. Throws it by him. Hits the strikeout. And for the 5th straight day, the Indians have struck out 10 times in a game. And that's the first time, according to Tommy Bowe, that has ever happened. Popper said that? That's a John Krepop stat.
Good for Popper. All right. Well, the Indians take on the Tigers for a 3-game series, Friday through Sunday. And when you buy a $5 footlong at any participating Northeast Ohio Subway restaurant, you'll receive a voucher for $5 off lower and upper box tickets to all 3 games.
Chu launches this ball deep center field. Vernon Wells on the track makes the grab in front of the wall for out number 2. Chu tried the big part of the park. And with 2 down, Johnny Peralta will be the batter. Peralta looks at the ball down low. And a swing and a miss. Robbie Lewis took the long way here. Originally drafted by the Orioles in 2001. Finally got to the big leagues this year. He was once a top prospect with the Orioles, but he got frustrated with the game and at one point walked away from it. He quit baseball, lost his passion for the game, and in 2005 he sat out the season, took a job at a pizza joint.
Oh, boy.
Really didn't think he'd ever play baseball again.
I think that's where he learned to get his hair cut. It was at the pizza joint like that.
Oh, be nice.
Come on.
The 1-2 delivery.
You want to work at a pizza joint instead of play ball.
Peralta went too far, strikes out in a good inning of work for Robbie Lewis, who strikes out a pair. Through 7, Tribe on top, 3-2.
Presented by the authority of the Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians.
Tribe on top, bottom of the 8th inning. Defensively now for the Indians, Austin Kearns takes over in left field. Vernon Wells, Lyle Overbay, Alex Gonzalez to bat here in the 8th inning for Toronto. Tony Sipp trying to hold a 1-run lead, delivers a strike to the outside corner. Wells tried to pull it, weakly hit to short. Balbuena, low throw, nice pick by Brennan, 1 down. Let's send it back to the studios right now. Here's an in-game update with Al Pawlowski.
All right, Matt, Rick, in Minnesota now they move to the 5th inning, but here in the bottom of the 4th, Denard Span with this base hit, goes for a single. That gets in the 5th run of the day for the Twins. They lead Detroit 5-2, 5th inning now at Target Field.
Okay, thanks, Al. Lyle Overbay cuts and misses. Overbay 0 for 3. He hit into 2 double plays his first time up, and only because the last time he was up he hit it so slowly did he not turned the trick for a third time and now delivers his first hit of the day and his second hit in the series.
Well, Tribe fans, get gear and go cheer. If you spend $50 or more at any Indians team shop or concession stand or at Indians.com, you'll receive a voucher good for 2 tickets to any Indians home game in May or June.
We've got a timeout here at Progressive Field. Manny Acta going to make a move to the bullpen. With the right-handed hitting Alex Gonzalez coming up. He's going to his closer, Chris Perez. We'll be right back. One on, one out in the 8th. Alex Gonzalez 1 for 3 with a double and a run scored will hit for Toronto. And Chris Perez on for the 11th time this year, trying to save his 5th in 6 tries.
Well, you know, it's been tough to try and get to this guy. You got to get Perez some work. He's got to come in and stay sharp. So I don't blame him for bringing him in this situation. Pinch runner Mike McCoy.
Strike to the inside corner. The 0-1 popped back. And this will go into the seats, 0-2 the count. Don't forget to stop by STOstuff.com and pick up your Sports Time Ohio merchandise. All bets are off talking chip clip, bottle openers, T-shirts, hats, and more. And plus our bobble desks are still available. STO gear only at STOstuff.com. 2-strike pitch. Got a piece, right back it goes. Marson also might have had a piece of that as well, but couldn't corral it. Throw over. Foul tip. This time Marson holds on, and that's a strikeout, 2 down.
He did get a piece of it right into the glove of Marson. That's an excellent pitch. Fastball up and away right at the top of the strike zone. It's going to be called a strike if he doesn't get after it. Gonzalez upset. Good pitch by Perez. Out number 2. Top half of the 8th.
Jose Bautista, 1 out of 3 today. Oh, and 1 the count. This guy has really swung the bat with authority in this series. And you talked about it in Game 1, how these Toronto hitters, they get their pitch early in the count. They're going to turn it loose, and they're not feeling for it. They're letting it go.
That's exactly right. They're swinging hard, boy. I mean, that's just philosophy. Get your hands loaded and you're that foot down and get ready to get through it.
1-1 the count. Off-speed pitch. Apparently a bit high, as Lou Marson asking what Ron Kulpa thought of that pitch. That looks like it's right down the middle, belt high. Might have fooled the umpire. 1-1. Swing and a miss. Pulled the string on him again, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. Mike McCoy, the pitch runner at first base. The 1-2 pitch struck him out. Chris Perez comes on and whiffs a pair. And we'll go to the bottom of the 8th, 3-2 Cleveland. Indians lead it. Bottom of the 8th inning. Mike McCoy stays in the game. He's now at third base. And Jose Bautista slides over to first. And Rami Lewis stays in the ballgame. Struck out a pair in that 7th inning. He'll face Travis Hafner, Russell Brendan, and Matt Laporta. And a first pitch strike to Travis Hafner. Rami Lewis ready with the 0-1. And Hafner cuts and misses. I mentioned last inning, if you missed it. Rami Lewis sat out an entire year, 2005. Didn't think he wanted to play baseball anymore. Took a job at a pizza joint. He said, delivering pizzas is fun, but it's nothing like baseball. I'm just thinking to myself, Rick, this guy shows up to your house. He's 6'6". He shows up to your house with a pizza. He might be a little intimidating. You might say, you know what, just keep the pizza. Really. The 1-2. Well, you got a big left-hander like Lewis. He's appearing in just his 4th game this year. And his first season in the big leagues. Hafner. High pop to center. Vernon Wells. 1 away. Let's go back to the 4th inning. Travis Hafner launched one off of Brandon Morrow. That brings our Great Clips home run counter up to $750 donated so far this year. For every homer hit by the Tribe, Great Clips donates $50 to the Gathering Place. Great needs, great deeds, Great Clips. Russell Brandon had an opposite field single his last time up. 1 for 3 today, 1 out of 7 in the series.
If the Indians don't score again in this inning, they will be looking to try and win their 3rd game this year already when scoring 3 or less runs. Last year, they were 5-61 all year when 3 or less. So they've got an opportunity, if they do not add on, to win their 3rd already.
The 1-1 swung on and missed. Now, ball and 2 strikes. The count on Russell Brandon. When you think back to last year, the one guy who was able to hold teams down that could give you a chance to win a game like that was Cliff Lee.
Right.
And they didn't score when he pitched at all. Swung out and missed. Another strikeout. That's a dozen punch-outs for Indians hitters here today. Three more for Brandon, who has struck out 6 times now in his last 2. And to bring up Austin Kearns, who came on defensively for Matt Laporta, who had 2 singles and 3 at-bats today. And I'll tell you what, the way Brandon Morrow was throwing the ball, that's a pretty good day when you can say you had 2 hits against him the way he was throwing.
That's exactly right. I mean, he was getting it up there, and Laporta did. Back in that 6th inning when they scored their 3rd and go-ahead run, he was up 1st and 2nd, nobody out, got the base hits to make it, the bases loaded. You know, they didn't bunt him. He got a base knock. Eventually they came on and scored on a Mike Redmond single. And that's the difference in the ball game.
They're telling us now that Mike Redmond left the game with tightness in his right hip after he drove in the go-ahead run on this, his 39th birthday today. And we saw him kind of lumbering down the line after he delivered that RBI single, and then did not come back after that. Two balls and a strike to count here on Austin Kearns. Missed outside, 3-1. Rami Lewis with the 3-1 pitch, and Austin Kearns smacks it into right center. The 2-out single will bring up Luis Valbuena.
Well, got a 3-1 pitch out over the plate. A fastball, stayed on it the way you should. Drills it the other way. Takes your base hit. You take what the pitcher gives you right there. 3-1 fastball. Didn't try to pull it. Stay on it. Use the opposite field. It's the 7th hit now for the Tribe.
Valbuena looks at a strike. A little bit low. 1-1 the count. Now, Rick, since we may not get back to the top of the order, a number of people who follow us on Facebook have asked the question about Grady Sizemore. Why wouldn't Manny Acta put him in the leadoff spot with his Drupal Cabrera sideline? And we did talk to Manny Acta, and he said he's not moving Grady Sizemore out of the 2-hole, and he said the reasons for Grady's struggle or the offensive struggles has nothing to do with Grady Sizemore batting second as opposed to batting leadoff. So he's sticking to his guns. He made the move, putting him in the 2-hole, and he doesn't see any reason right now to move him. So that's straight from the horse's mouth.
Okay. Let's hope that, things turn around. He doesn't have to move him.
1-2 pitch, chopped foul. And that's what, hey, to me, that's what makes baseball the great game it is because there is so much open to debate for people who are truly fans and want to try to break it down and play armchair manager, and juggle the lineup and think, well, why wouldn't you do this? Why wouldn't you? I mean, that's what makes it great.
Right. It's
a great
all open
debate
for discussion.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And the game of baseball, you've heard us say a number of times, it's a constant adjustment. And you know what? There's no set way. You could make a change. He could absolutely do it. Maybe he doesn't want to do it for his own reasons, I'm sure. But when your team's struggling, you got to try and do something, and he opts right now to keep him there.
Indians lead it 3-2 here, bottom of the 8th. Runner goes, 1-2 pitch, line to left field, down the line, fair ball, into the corner it goes. Coming around third, Austin Kearns, he's going to score, and Luis Valbuena delivering some insurance with a 2-out RBI double in the 8th. 4-2 Cleveland.
Well, you start the runner, and what do you know? Valbuena puts it in play, finds a fair ball down the left field line. And that was a fastball in. Don't know if he wanted that pitch there, but I'll tell you what, Valbuena does a nice job to get it down in play. I'd almost jumped up in the stands. That would have been a bad play for the Indians if it jumps up there for a ground rule double. Stay in play. They end up scoring the run. It's an insurance run. It's now a 4-2 Indians lead.
We've got a timeout as Cito Gaston makes a pitching change. 4-2 Tribe. where the Indians now hold a 4-2 advantage over Toronto. And before Lou Marson steps in, let's introduce you to the newest pitcher for Toronto today. It's Jason Frazier for the 12th time this year. Hard to believe his ERA is that high from what we've seen of him in the past, but 17 hits allowed in just 9 2/3 innings of work.
Well, he does. I mean, he at one point in time, they tried him closing. He has 35 career saves for him.
Marson with a ground ball, routine to second. Hill throws him out. And we'll go to the ninth. 4-2 Cleveland. Ninth inning here at Progressive Field as Chris Perez tries to finish off a 5-out save here in the ninth inning. Tribe trying to stop a 3-game skid. Blue Jays trying to extend a 3-game win streak. But it's the Indians who have the upper hand here. A 2-run lead. They need 3 outs.
Yeah, that was a nice insurance run in the bottom half of the 8th inning. I mean, not that it's going to change Chris Perez's approach because he's going to want to go out and get the 3 up, 3 down anyway, but it certainly helps. There's a little wiggle room, I guess.
At the knees for a strike. Travis Snyder 1 for 3 with a run batted in today, and he was robbed of at least a double in the 7th inning on a terrific catch by Shin-Soo Choo.
This kid's had a good series. He swings the bat very well. Ball jumps off his bat.
2-1 pitch. Broke his bat. Brandon with a backhander. The flip. Perez beats him to the bag. 1 away. Let's take a look at our player of the game today. Fausto Carmona went 6 1/3 innings and allowed just 2 earned runs. They turned 3 double plays behind him. And really did a nice job as he is in line now for his 4th win of the year against just 1 loss.
Well, he likes day baseball. They're going to go 3-0 during the day.
John Buck with a pinch hit appearance. And on the run, Peralta throws him out 2 down. Stay tuned for the Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care postgame show. If you're just tuning in, stay tuned, and we will have all the highlights, get you up to date on what you missed. Al has the highlights from around baseball. And we'll get you set up for this weekend series against Detroit. That's all straight ahead after the ball game. Freddie Lewis takes a first pitch strike. Fred Lewis has singled and doubled already today. 2 for 4 and 4 for 13 in the series. Perez deals right back to the screen. And the count 0-2.
Yeah, Chris Perez feeling it right now. He's not messing around. He's out there. He's firing strikes. Got the back-to-back strikeouts in the 8th.
Seems to be a guy who feeds off of the adrenaline of the moment.
I think everyone does. Yes, you do. And it can go positive and it can go negative. But right now, he's got it flowing. He's got it rolling.
The 0-2. Ripped to right field. Fair ball, and into the corner it goes. And Lewis rolling around into second base.
That kid, Lewis, has swung the bat well here, too. Another 0-2 base hit.
3 hits today for Fred Lewis. Gives him 5 in the 3-game series. And the tying run comes to the plate in Aaron Hill, who is 0 for 3. And Aaron Hill looks at a first pitch strike. Perez the 0-1. Swung on and missed as he blew it by him at 95 miles an hour. Stay tuned after the postgame show. Bruce Drennan has another installment of All Bets Are Off. And then later tonight, Outdoors Ohio with Darcy Egan and Joe Thomas here on Sports Time Ohio. The 0-2 goes right back to the screen. No Indians baseball tomorrow, off day. But the Cleveland Golden Gloves Championships will be aired on Sports Time Ohio tomorrow night at 6:30. Tribe and the Tigers back in action here Friday night at 7. Perez with the 0-2 pitch. And a bouncing ball to short. Balbuena had it go through his legs. Coming home is Fred Lewis. It's a 1-run game. And the tying run is at first. And the Blue Jays still have life.
Boy, they sure do. Unbelievable. A routine ground ball just under the wickets. I mean, you've got to make that play. Game on the line. It's right through the legs. And now, Manny's got to come out and just try and settle Perez down because it's a 4-3 game. But now the tying run is on base. So the error, hopefully, does not hurt the Indians, and they can hang on and win this one. It doesn't get any easier than that.
Boy, oh boy. So instead of a 5-out save, it'll have to be a 6-out save for Chris Perez. Adam Lynn, 1 hit on the day, and only 1 hit in the series. Is the batter with 2 down here in the 9th. Tying run down at first. Caught the outside corner to even the count. The 1-1. Back over the screen. For Luis Valbuena, he added the insurance run.
But he gave
and
it
then
right
he just
back.
took it back.
Yeah, he sure did. He broke even on that thing, but no siree.
Now it's up to Chris Perez. The 1-2 pitch. In the air, left field, deep. Kearns is up, and it's gone. Incredible. Adam Lynn with a 2-out, 2-run homer. It's a 3-run ninth inning for the Blue Jays.
And you talk about the extra outs. There you have it. It breaks your back. Unbelievable.
They now lead it 5-4 after the home run by Adam Lynn. And the Blue Jays have stunningly turned this game around, taking a 1-run lead.
I mean, you talk about a team taking advantage of an extra out. There's the situation. And you go from a win to where you got to fight and come back to win the game in your last 3 outs. And Lind is a guy who is, what was he? He was 0 for his last 19 coming into the day until he got that base hit.
Valbuena has another one skip past him. He had leather on it, and he couldn't hold it. And it's a nightmare ninth for Valbuena. Another look. He had it.
Well, that ball that was in the air.
Huh?
You know, it did because he thought it was going to hit the ground or whatever. One of those balls that it was hit hard, and it did catch him on the heel. It never short hopped.
It is officially ruled an error on Valbuena as Mike McCoy takes a strike. Runner goes. Pitch gets by Marson. But Vernon Wells holds at second base. The stolen base for Vernon Wells, his second. And now the 1-1 pitch. In the air, right field. Shin-Soo Choo will make the catch. We'll go to the bottom of the ninth. Now the Indians will have to rally. They're down 5-4.
What he has to do.
Happened?
Well, I'll tell you what happened. They gave him an extra out. The game should have been over, and an error prolonged the game. The next guy went deep, and everything fell apart. That 27th out sometimes the toughest to get, but it wasn't his fault today. It was the defense.
Well, here we go now. Mark Grudzelanek to face Jason Frazier to open the bottom of the ninth. And a first pitch strike. Mark Grudzielanek has walked in 4 trips to the plate. Here's a bouncer to short. And that's out number 1. Grady Sizemore with Shin-Soo Choo to follow here in the 9th. Indians down 5-4 after they took a 4-2 lead into the 9th. Frazier deals, and Grady looks at a ball outside. Two balls and no strikes. You know, Rick, I just go back to the ground ball that Aaron Hill hit. When it went through Valbuena's legs, I looked down at the Blue Jay dugout, and it erupted. I mean, it truly gave him life. The game was over. They were done. Ball goes through his legs. Oh, we're still alive.
Well, you know, and you're talking about the best power team in the league, so they feel they're going to hit a home run, and they did the very next hitter. I mean, yeah, you give them life, you let them give them an opportunity to stay in the game, and then something good on their end could happen. And then in turn, on the negative side of it, with the Indians, you're saying, oh, here we go again.
Yeah, I think that definitely struck a nerve with our Facebook followers. We've had 85 messages in the last 3 minutes. Manny Acta doesn't allow his players to use the word frustrated, but I don't know what other F word you could use to describe this one.
I do. I just won't tell you about it.
Popped out to second, 2 down. And Shin-Soo Choo will be the batter, 0 for 3. He walked his first time up. And we'll see if Choo can extend this game for the Tribe. Blue Jays outfield straight away and deep.
Yeah, that's definitely no doubles.
Yeah. Low ball 1. Five runs, 11 hits for Toronto, 4 runs, 8 hits for Cleveland. But the 2 errors loom large now on the scoreboard.
You know, and the unfortunate thing, the Blue Jays, they haven't been giving up the long ball today. That home run that Hafner hit in the 4th was, the second one in 80 or 93 innings.
Choo with a liner to deep left. It's going to be off the fence, and the game will continue as Choo gets into second base. The tying run is in scoring position with 2 outs for the Indians. So Shin-Soo Choo refuses to let the Indians go quietly. And now it will come down to Johnny Peralta. Jason Frazier and John Buck with a mini conversation. Now Johnny Peralta, 2 strikeouts, 0 for 4, 2 for 12 in the series. Lays off ball 1. Choo the tying run at second base with 2 down here in the 9th. Can Peralta deliver? Takes a strike to even the count. Cito Gaston now edging toward the edge of his seat. A long look in for Frazier. And the 1-1 to Johnny. A little tapper, slowly hit. Coming in, McCoy on the move, throws and he gets him. So a terrific defensive play ends the game, and Toronto wins it 5-4 with 3 runs in the 9th inning to secure the victory.
Well, that was a nice play. You didn't know. He had to come up with it in a hurry. Coming into the game late, but makes the nice play, gets Peralta at first base to end the game.
In stunning fashion, Toronto with 3 in the 9th comes back to beat Cleveland to sweep the series 5-4. And with that victory, Toronto is now 16-13, running their win streak to 4 in a row. The loss sends the Indians to their 4th straight defeat, and they are now 10-17 on the season. The winning pitcher is Jason Frazier. And for Jason Frazier, he goes to 1-1 on the year. The loss goes to Chris Perez. And for Chris Perez, he drops to 0-2 on the season. Time now for our play of the game, brought to you by Key Bank, banking home of your Cleveland Indians.
Well, it's an ugly play of the game to watch, but we're going to have to look at it again because it kept the game going. That could have been the 3rd out. It goes right between the wickets or the 5-hole. Balbuena lets it get into left field. And, that kept the inning going. The next guy gets up, hits a home run. They take the lead. So that is going to be our Key Bank play of the game.